to because they used so much. Like I said, all those champions, Fearless banned above them, as well as the ones banned above KT's head. And they banned Ryze, Azir, and Sion. Perfect's like, why didn't you ban my Rumble? I'll take that. Thank you very much. He's still got the Sion. So maybe you got to ban that one away. Ryze still an issue. I think they're probably going to ban it once again here in this first spot. But KT has a little bit more versatility, I think, coming into the second game.
I would agree. I think the Poppy is the big one. I think KT need to continue to ban that away from Gideon. He's been so good at this pick. Lehens can also play it, as we know. So a bit of flexibility there, but it will still be junglers focused down. I don't think Vi is going to get through ever, as this time the Kalista is going to be banned in the first round, was banned in the second round last time. So good, just going to get her out of there.
I wonder if Calyx is trying to angle for his own Ryze first pick here since they haven't banned it just yet.
Oh, that could be an option.
Very surprised to see that. The Pantheon is very strong with Ryze because you have double global that way. Same way it can be strong with Galio as well, even though it's not a strong mid-jungle for the lane necessarily. Nidalee is also taken away here, so really interesting set
Sion
of bans.
first pick. It's Sion first pick. That's what they're looking for there. The Sion then gets banned away, and then they get the Ryze if they want it. I actually kind of like the trap that's being set up here by Nongshim. The Azir is going to be the ban, so to make sure that they can at least get the Ryze out of this, they are just going to get rid of the Azir. It's something that Calyx has gravitated towards.
I think the Azir ban is also really strong
interesting.
Because you have, like, if KT lose any games in this series, they get blue side, they get to threaten that B1 Azir later on, so you get to save it. And this is going to give Perfect the Sion, of course.
Ryze, though.
And the Ryze that you mentioned is certainly available. They could go for Ahri instead if they want to draft that way, but when you already have this insane frontline of the Sion, I think you certainly can do the Ryze instead and look for more damage, as the Xin Zhao will come through. It was a blind Trundle last game. The Sejuani was not countered by the Trundle, it was picked into the Trundle.
And then was countered by the Trundle after that.
Yes, of course. Just not in draft. It was a self-counter pick, and see what the follow-up is going to be here for Nongshim RedForce. A lot of discussion from Gideon. It's going to be his jungle pick that is the focus. Wukong seems to be what they're looking for.
Yep, and Wukong has been very, very strong. Does give you a bit of extra carry potential out of the jungle there as well. Synergizes quite nicely with the Victor already.
Now, they could go a few different ways here. Like, Kingan's laughing, so you never know what it means, but I think even picking Jace into this Sion, yes, Sion kind of is a great answer. I was going to go for the Camille. You can go for any sort of all-in power, because you know the Ryze is coming, relatively immobile, difficult to realm warp when a Camille gets on top of you, when a Wukong is on top of you. And so, you know, this is a great way to say, look, we've got a strong matchup into the Sion, we've got some top prio, and we can shut down this Ryze that we know is coming. And they didn't go for the Jace. I thought maybe they would just say, well, I want that prio. They want something a little bit more hard engage focused.
And also a lot more 1-3-1 or 4-1 with this Camille that will be able to eat turrets in the later stages.
Which is
and
exactly
also
why
teamfights. Yeah, it works.
It's exactly why the Lehens Shin ban comes out here as well, because it empowers that side lane power. As we'll see Peter's best champion this year, the Nico, taken away.
I think, you know, Braum's still available, can mess with a bunch of compositions. Maybe not necessarily Nongshim right now, that just have a lot of circles, and the flank angles I think Camille will find could be a bit awkward.
Even though it's a good angle for like the draft from Nongshim itself, I don't think the Neela here really fits into what KT have already. So even though I think it would be otherwise a consideration, I like this ban a lot more because the Kai'Sa is going to be able to follow up and potentially get past that Sion, dive into the back line as the front line gets kind of sent into the bouncy castle.
Yep. As
this final ban here gets a little bit interesting, you know, the Alistar is already gone. It was played in game 1 somehow miraculously. So they may look for a Duckdom ban here instead. Something like an Ezreal could otherwise be relatively safe here. Not going to be safe into the Camille, but the Camille has to go so deep to get the Ezreal that it feels like you kind of win.
I like the Braum ban. I actually kind of felt like Duckdom and Peter were angling towards like a Lucian Braum type angle.
Senna
is up. Oh, God. Sometimes I'm thinking about her husband instead of her.
But, I mean, the Senna is
my bad.
It's kind of tough into this comp, to be honest. And you can match the scaling here with Jiu's iconic Smolder. Everyone remembers that game where Guma sniped him in the end, but he did so much heavy lifting to try to keep Nongshim's chances alive. I don't even have to say what year it is. You guys will remember that game. Opting instead for another Guma special, speaking of him, and the Caitlyn answer to the Senna.
So the Kate is going to come out. The Morgana that Lehens has already played to pretty good effect. While Peter was co-streaming, this was in that tiebreaker match that Peter, of course, was... No, it wasn't. It was the last match of the season. And Peter was making sure that he checked it out. As Seraphine Center is something that we had seen in the past. It was a different version of this, but I like it. Into Morgana, you don't want to be picking these engaged champions.
Yeah, Tom Kench, he's got such a great mastery on, and it's super good into this composition. But I kind of like the Seraphine more, because it almost feels like it's a really strong lane bully, but also has a lot of rotational power, and is kind of like budget Renata with the ultimate. You know, they look for the dive, you look for the charm, for the counter engage. Well, the Tom Kench will do something very different. Last time we saw Peter play this champion, we were all very concerned that it wasn't going to work, but he had an incredible level 1 engage and was able to make a big impact throughout the game. I'm worried, though, about picking Tom Kench into Caitlyn Morgana. Like, it's great for the team fights, but in the lane, it is just not going to do anything for you.
Yeah, that's why the Seraphine was hovered before. It was like, but I could contest the lane. And then they're like, well, it's Caitlyn into center, so you're probably not anyway. And he's like, all right, we'll sacrifice it. We'll just pick the Tom Kench, make sure that we have that for the later stages of the game. And already their top side is really strong. You look at Sion versus Camille, and you're like, but Sion's a tank. No, he's probably going to win lane. Sion's kind of broken at this point in time. The top side is very strong for KT, so I think that they can sort of let bottom lane weather the storm as best they can, sort of that old Damwon 2020 type mindset, and just hope that they can have the level of utility later in the game.
How many plates do we see for Gio? That's the big question for me. Like, how many Caitlyn plates do they get if they leave it on an island here? It can be bailed out a little bit by the Xinjiao, but this time around, I think the draft is both cohesive here for Nongshim, but great into KT, so I'm going to have to give them a pretty significant edge here. I think the Sion needs to weather the storm and maybe try to fight back, as BDD is going to be once again the main character on this rise.
As he always is. Let's get on to the Rift for Game 2.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, KT fans and Nongshim fans in full voice here in LOL Park as we looked to game number 2. KT already stacked up, seeing whether anyone comes around the corner, but not going to be seen. I do like this from KT, though. They're going for the opportunistic movements.
Last time we saw the Morgana, we were not super thrilled about it. Ox, in particular, was very upset about it, and it did work because of some moves that were made by Showmaker specifically.
Yeah.
And, you know, we know it can be quite strong into any sort of melee jungle to zone them out, keep them out of pits, for example. The Dark Binding is so incredibly powerful. And in this lane,
you deny knockups as well, and he won't be able to maneuver your AD carry into the enemy team. Yeah, some of those abilities as well.
In this lane, it kind of functions like Lux. You clear the wave really easily, and you look for bindings, or you lose trade at level 1.
Yep, you might just get shot a lot, which is what's happening right now. But I still think that, yeah, Lehens and Gio are going to have so much fun in this lane.
Oh, they should.
In the early game.
They absolutely should. As the Senna is not going to be able to fight back against the Caitlyn early, and Caitlyn is the pushing bottom laner, the marksman that can chip away at any melee support, especially if those hit.
Yeah, nice shot there, though. Nice dodge, sorry. Move out of the way of Gio's Peacemaker. Stockdom looking to do his very best, picking up these souls as often as possible. Got to try and stack that one up as best he can. Try and match this Caitlyn's range as soon as possible. It's going to be one of the difficulties.
Yeah, and you got to do as best as you can to try to secure all the farm that you can as your minions are constantly trying to push those of the enemy away from the turret. You can see a lot of these missed here.
Yeah.
Very tricky to CS this under turret, but he did a decent job.
And also, like, Senna's auto attack is just so weird. I know that our pro player is definitely better at it than I am. I just find, like, it's so frustrating. I loved her as, like, a champion, like, the idea and, like, the way she works and stuff like that, but man,
when you
auto
use
bothers
it,
me.
She's shooting a gun, right? But it feels like she's swinging a baseball bat.
Yeah, right? That's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, it's very weird. But they're trading back actually pretty well in this lane.
Yeah, it's sort of working. I mean, still the minions
you put the pool down, you know, Caitlyn Qs, and then she just shoots every minion, and then the wave continues to push through. But holding their own here and not losing too much damage on the turret. As, yeah, you mentioned Sion is kind of in an insane spot right now, and with Grasp trades incredibly well and is actually crushing early this Camille.
Yep. Does miss a bit of CS in this lane as, yeah, Kingen is just going to have to continue taking Qs, you could imagine.
Yeah, I noticed, you know, in the previous game, Perfect was happy to even drop a cannon to get like 20% of Kingen's health. He was very aggressively trading, and he's going to do the same here as we have that early lane swap here for the Caitlyn and Morgana, which is kind of a concern that you're not staying with that one there on the bottom side, cuz...
Oh, he might have to flash.
He will.
As Lehens does throw out the Dark Binding pretty early, and still continuing to move on over here, as Camille going to take an opportunity to head back and will rotate down towards this bottom side as Nongshim, the early swap happening once again.
It feels very weird at this timing because Grubs are so far away, right? To just concede the Caitlyn lane into the Senna and just let that go and then play Camille into it. I feel like Duckdom is like, what? Okay, yeah. I'm happy to hit a turret. Am I allowed to hit a turret at 4.5 minutes?
I think it's a little bit like, Perfect, what have you been doing to the Camille on that top side of the map?
And now King can't even get back to the turret easily.
Yeah, this is, at least Hookshot is available, and so Kingen able to move himself up towards getting at least the caster minions in that wave, as KT will hold this one and keep Kingen locked underneath this turret as best they can. The Piercing Darkness being very annoying. Hextech Sweep will be able to lock down the cannon there for Kingen.
Anyone who did see the lane swap meta that occurred for a very long time throughout last year can attest to that Sion is not going to have fun into the Caitlyn lane there on his own either, but it's great for Senna.
That's all right. BDD immediately flashing out of the way of Gideon. He doesn't have the Cyclone as Cuz looking to make his way in Audacious Charge to try and block as Calyx in such an awkward spot has to flash himself as BDD trying to hold Gideon at arm's length, making sure the Nimbus Strike not going to be able to get him. You can see there, Cuz going to get locked down by the Gravity Well, and KT, no first bloods or anything like that, but they do manage to stave off the gang.
Do you remember when Willer played on Hanwha Life Esports, and he was just like Chovy's bodyguard? I feel like in the early game of both of these games, Cuz is like, don't worry, I'm always there for you. Just staved so much pressure off here for BDD. BDD did have to flash, but Calyx having to flash in return does not feel great.
He probably wouldn't have needed to, right? They could have got the flash and then sort of backed away. I think they saw the kill angle as Perfect. A lot of physical damage in the kit of the Scion. The Q doing that, so not going to be able to break through a Black Shield very comfortably. Still fine. As BDD here in this mid lane going to be pushing this one out. First Drake going to go down. Next one is a Mountain. We could have like 5 in a row.
The fact that Sion can just deal with this Camille so well that it's a Caitlyn that buys a Cull as a Senna lanes into a Camille with Tom Kench 2v1 in the bottom lane makes me feel like even though the draft felt so great for Nongshim, they're just not getting the mileage out of it that they wanted to in this early game. Caitlyn is going to freely push into the Sion for sure, so she's getting kind of what she wanted either way, but the Senna is just chilling. Part of the Caitlyn pushes in and gets, you know, value and tries to put plates away is taking gold away from the Senna, pushing her away, threatening dives there. That with Wukong as your jungler, you can't really threaten dives until 6, and I guess this is Nongshim's way of getting what they wanted in a roundabout way, but if I'm KT, I feel pretty good about how this early game has gone.
Yeah, I think it's kind of okay, right? I don't think that Nongshim have really hit their power spike yet with what this composition is capable of, is because he's probably going to lose out on this Brambleback. Will do so as the Arcane Storm comes down to the mid lane. Calyx going to be pushing BDD out of this lane once again.
Good vision there from Gideon. Knows exactly where Cuz is. Tracking this well. Perfect is coming down.
Oh yeah, Perfect. Let's see whether he can get an angle here as he might actually want to get the train out. Dark Binding connects onto Cuz. He does manage to take his Raptor as Gideon moves into the brush. Warrior Trickster is going to be up, and there is the Black Shield, which is so powerful.
Perfect.
Okay,
Flashing.
Perfect. Flashes over the wall to follow a Warrior Trickster. I don't know about that one necessarily, and doesn't really do anything with the ulti either.
I think I do know about that one, and I think it probably wasn't the right call.
All right.
And I think you did too, but it's, you know, sometimes that's a caster safety term.
Maybe it caused Calyx to miss that cannon just then because he was also so confused.
Yeah, could be. That was the inner thinking.
The orchestrated -1.
Yeah, well, that was a little bit weird. Perfect is going to head down to the bottom lane, but he also used his ult in that skirmish, so won't be able to ult to catch this wave like he probably initially planned when they were going to swap back.
Oh, BDD holding Calyx in place for now as Lehens Looking for a Dark Binding angle, but Phase Rush is one heck of an ability. And that's going to deny it. Cuz moving over, wants to be able to steal away some of these grubs. That's Gideon locking down the second one. As the Crescent Guard gonna have to be flashed there as the Snap Trap goes down. Nongshim still looking for more as the teleport comes in from Kingin. I don't know about the teleport, but they
got BDD's
managed
TP
to get the grubs.
And perfect, unfortunately, though, for Nongshim is going to get some alone time with this turret. They're looking for Duck Dom.
Yep, hookshot comes down. Hextech Ultimatum coming on in there as Peter wanting to try and keep his AD carry alive, and the sidesteps, beautiful. The barrier barely even necessary as the Cyclone gets a quad knock-up. He gets into that backline. Doc Dom is now going to have to flash as, oh my god, he's so close to dead. They got another auto, but it wasn't enough. The Dawning Shadow to try and save the rest of his teammates, and Nongshim is solo Calyx moving over, though the Death Ray is so scary. And Doc Dom brings everyone into the mist. BDD going to be able to soak up the ace in the hole, and there is no Scion here, but it looks like KT going to be okay without him for now.
I feel like maybe they didn't know BDD had TP top because he TP'd off of Vision, but they started to force the play anyways, but they could have actually just looked to get plates in the mid lane for Calyx, but they stuck around here, and now this is pretty awkward for the side of Nongshim because they brought, 5 people top side, and then Perfect got 2 plates on the bottom side. He was just chilling. Thanks for the TP, Camille. And you can see BDD unseen here, so yeah, I think they just didn't know that BDD was here, thought this was going to be a really winnable fight, but Duck Dom, man, could he have played this better? Dodges that as well, has the barrier instantly, and then this is a great turn from Gideon. Duck Dom just barely survives your flash to the last possible second, kites back here, gets a little bit of healing.
The flash from Gio, but then the heal comes through, oh my god.
And then the ult comes out, and it's shocking that in this 5v4, no one dies with these health bars, some of them sub 200. And BDD eats the ult, but Perfect gets the plates on the bottom side and is able to take a small gold lead over this Camille as a result. Otherwise, small leads here for Nongshim in the bottom lane, which is expected.
Yeah.
Just not because the Caitlyn was laning into the Senna, though, weirdly enough.
And I don't know whether the CS gap between the Senna and the Caitlyn is quite enough to make Nongshim feel comfortable.
No, I don't really think so.
It's still 10, it's still decent, but the Caitlyn really wants to be accelerating, getting those plates as much as possible. It's not quite happening just yet. Peacemaker coming on down from Jiu. This is not necessarily like the classic Jiu champion, as we know. Like, it's things like Healer and Zeri that he really does like, but his Caitlyn has been all right in the past.
Duck Dom doesn't have Shiv yet. Oh, Peter's looking for a gank.
Oh dear, we don't find the snare. Hookshot does come on down. The exhaust, though, Peter wanting to commit to this one as he gets the gobble and takes another turret shot. Don't know about that one, but still going to find a tongue lash, and the knock-up not quite going to work out. Kingin still looking for it, but does not get it. Peter stays alive, and that is first blood going over to Doc Dom. Disaster scenario for Nongshim.
Yeah, now Perfect does have his ultimate here, but no flash. They may look for a counter dive. BDD coming up, though, with Realm Worm at the ready. I just don't think they can commit. They know that Ryze could be there at a moment's notice, so Perfect defends top side. They get the win in the bottom lane with that late swap to mid because Duck Dom didn't have Shiv, wanted to get it first. Then they end up getting a kill in the bottom lane, get the dragon, and there's no cross-map opportunity here because of that Realm Warp that BDD still holds. They see him, they ping him as he walks over this ward. And honestly, even Gideon being here is a little bit greedy.
Well, Gideon is going to find BDD, just trying to stop him from heading towards that top side, but oh my god, really? Come on, 5 in a row?
I'm telling you,
absolutely
it's gotta
absurd. It's got to be a bug. So now the Scion going to be very happy about that. I think now the team should really be drafting towards Chemtech Soul, because that seems to be what's happening every time. Like, Ox, dude, are you even here? Are you in the chat?
I mean, Senda's got some healing.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. That is definitely true.
I mean, look at this play here from Peter as it's a greedy trade from Kingin. Doesn't have vision here. The root doesn't even land, but it doesn't matter. So he has the exhaust because he has unsealed spellbook here. Goes for the Devour, eats that turret shot, gets the heal.
Yep, and has his own healing in the kit as well. I mean, Tom Kench also loves Chemtech Soul. And
the kill goes obviously over to the Senna. So she's got Shiv now. She's back in the mid lane. And for Nongshim fans, this is not the start you wanted with this draft. Yeah, I mean, it's only one kill, but it's just where the money is across the board that's so concerning. The fact that the Senna is so close to the Caitlyn.
And this is also like such a comfy late game draft from KT as well. It is literally like protect the president, stand behind the brick wall, and just mow down turrets. Doc Dom is going to have infinite range later on. Later on, he's sort of got it already as he does walk towards you there in a little bit of a dangerous fashion. But it's item completed versus like that pathetic slingshot and a decently sized sword. Like, it's Dr. having full control on a champion that infinitely scales.
Yeah. The fact that the Scion has Sunfire and is just chilling into this Camille that's hookshotting away, you add all these things up, and there's not really any good news for Nongshim. Now, the other part about this Senna pick, before we even saw the Caitlyn, that worried me was you're playing Senna into Wukong Camille, right? So that's kind of hard. That's a little bit challenging. You know, we always got to keep your eyes on whether Dr. has flash or not, where he's positioned. It gets easier the more range he has, but the mid game is certainly going to be decently weak. If you could see a good engage from King and from Gideon when those ults are available. But he has Tom Kench with him, you know, and that makes it a little bit easier. He can just be devoured, and also BDD can keep them at bay with some good roots as well on this rise.
We have some added information as well, Wolf. I need to let everyone know that it's Chronicler's fault. It's not necessarily Orcs' fault.
Oh, really?
It's Chronicler's fault. So I'll just leave it at that. We might have some confirmation, but yeah, just so you know, it's his bad. Okay, BDD going to be pushing towards Calyx, who feels the need to ult to get him out of here. Felt like maybe there was a dive incoming. We do know that Peter was in the area. As Lahen's moving on up, Calyx will be able to clear out this control ward. Peter continuing to be frustrating. Dark Binding connecting as Cuz standing on top of a ward right now.
Okay, Dr. also seen on the ward. They know he's coming up here. Let's see what Nongshim decide to do.
Oh, BDD still in that brush, finds the Rune Prison. And yeah, the Black Shield not really going to last when there is BDD in the area. Cuz gets the knock-up, Calyx goes down. The root! Oh, the root is so incredibly good as Gideon is cycloning his way out as the Realm Warp going to be deterred just a little bit with that great Dark Binding from Lahen's trying to buy some space. But here comes the train. That's half of Jiu's health bar from a tank. What the heck? He's going to have to flash as Perfect was tanking the turret for about 600 years. Peter coming on over to try and save his Scion. Hextech Ultimatum comes down. Jiu going to get knocked up into the sky. Well, not knocked up, just cut down. As the Black Shield not going to save him from that damage.
Is just doing Dragon BD drops, pushes the wave into a turret. Nongshim are going to drop that one. And suddenly this game here at 15.5 minutes feels like we're already watching late game Senna Scion. And we're not quite through the mid game just yet. And that's a bit of a worrying sign here for how this game is going to play out. Pretty insane as they just outplay that fight.
Well, BDD does stun himself by staying on the gravity field. Not sure about that one. Still, just going... Oh, he picked up the pedal. So that is 10 points to BDD. Let's have a look at this one more time.
I mean, Peter has TP, by the way, which is why he makes that call to go mid right after this. Is they bring a trap, right? BDD is here, and Cuz is going to get the follow-up here. Dukdom also doing so much work, gets the root here onto the Wukong, goes for the chase. Gideon makes the right call with the Realm Warp going between him and Lahen's to go down. It's definitely the right move. Then you see that TP collapse from Peter on the Tom Kench. They look for Jiu here, who actually ends up losing like half his health bar from the Scion ult alone. But is able to kite things back here because of the double turret. But they get Kingan's TP as well. And look at this move here from Peter. Never going to let his top laner down. He supports his whole team, not just his AD carry. Yeah, and look at this, like the Black Shield value, definitely there. But the fact that KT can just kite it out, heal it up, and still end up winning out on that exchange is pretty insane.
Wait. Oh, okay, yeah. So here is the confirmation. This is what I was talking about before. Thank you very much, G-Sun. As we had the transition, you can see he was paying attention to the board game. Arcs is a great game, right? It's really nice. We are going to be having a bit of focus on the game here as Jiu in a little bit of trouble. Hens comes in with the flash heal to keep him alive. But Cuz still in the area.
Okay, hold up. Cuz?
Yeah, looking for an angle. Realm Warp to come down here as the BDD Peter special delivery gets him right on top of them. Dukdom to take down Lahen's. Jiu's health bar is non-existent, and Kingin, he has hookshot. That's one heck of an ability, but BDD locks down. The Dawning Shadow blind takes down the Caitlyn, and the train's like, where are my customers? No one's ready to take a ride. They're on the death chamber.
They already died. KT! This is insane! The leads we are seeing, the early game we are seeing, I think a little bit of a flub from Nongshim in some elements of this game, but KT are just on form right now. They're going to get the soul point of the Chemtech soul, because as I was going to mention, Chronicler's just, I guess he's the one who wants Chemtech soul. We figured it out.
Yeah, he loves Chemtech soul,
He baited Ox into a card game. Ox wasn't even paying attention to the game. It was clearly on screen behind him when that soul came through. So, you look at moments like this, and it's like, the Hens and crew are moving down. You know, Jiu is here alone And there's so much range, like,
as well.
I mean, I can give credit to KT for how they played this, but also I think Nongshim looking for an aggressive play where they didn't have vision on the other side of the map. Like, who were they trying to catch? BDD, I suppose, but they just left Gio alone. And then the skirmish happens where, like we said, just so much sustain here, so much chasing power, because Peter either teleports behind you or he just abyssals behind you. He just
I was going to say, was that actually, did they realm warp in Peter abyssal voyaging like the perfect, like,
remember
that was really cute.
Remember when Abyssal was actually a global? Peter's kind of making it feel like it still is.
Yeah, it's Abyssal Voyage. He went on Abyssal Voyage that time instead of just the dive. That's really, really cool. Not that I have anything against the dive. It's a great show. As Gideon now just going to trickster his way over the wall.
Every time I see more members of Nongshim fishing for something, they fail, and then I see KT are getting value side lane. It's perfect half the time, but Duckdom here as well, just free stacking souls. Here, the break point we always talk about that's kind of essential if you really want to have a great Senna game is to hit 60 at 20 minutes. Like, he's just 4 stacks away from that with 40 seconds to go, and he already has 3 kills. So, you know, stacks be damned. I don't know if he really cares if even it was a little slow this game, and it wasn't. Perfect is also flanking Giu.
Like from inside his base. Yeah, he's just going to drive a train into him. Black Shield working out very well there for the Sion solo engage.
KT have dropped 2 grubs.
Yeah.
Like, from the LCK Global caster opinion, it's perfect gameable.
Oh, God.
Because they didn't get the whole 3. Although, I guess 2 out of 3 on the new patch.
I mean, technically, it is kind of...
It is an objective. Never mind. It's not. No, it's not. Not a perfect game.
I don't really like it. Anyway, Perfect is moving in. Soul Furnace explodes for so much damage. Lahen's in so much trouble here. As Duckdom, he finds it with that last auto, then flashes on top of Gio. Duckdom is out of control today. As he's flashing forward, going for these big plays. Kingen looking to try and deny that theoretical pseudo-perfect game. And it's the Sion that's going to look to stop it. Otacon on the menu here for KT, and there it is. Kingen is just going to ruin the debate forever, as taking a turret is definitely going to take the perfect game away.
I mean, they're losing this Otacon, though. At least he got some bounty gold for his team, I suppose, as Gideon is trying to catch this mid-wave as a jungler, as the enemy team is doing Otacon. If that doesn't show you the game state, I don't know what will. Fans at home, I think a lot of people probably looking at that 5,000 gold lead, and they think that's the real story, but it's a center comp. Well, the Sion that's 1,400 gold ahead with BDD on Rise. He hasn't even finished his Rod of Ages yet. We've got 3 minutes to go on that one. As it's crazy how
the Roar of the Slayer value is absurd as well.
Perfect is playing Sion, but it feels like he's playing Camille because he just keeps catching the 80 carry over and over and over again with his kit, and there's just no escape for Gio, man. He's been targeted this game, and Perfect is finding angles. He had a great laning phase. KT feels like everyone is firing on full cylinders. Everyone is playing at their very best, because we've seen weeks where Perfect wasn't, right? He even had casting sub in form. Duckdom early in the season as well. Everyone was saying this is the weakest AD carry in the LCK. It's just not the case right now. He's having an incredible Senna game. He had a great Varus game last game around.
Yep.
And then Cuz and BDD are playing both at their full form. They both had their rocky moments. They've been the most consistent parts of this. And Peter, you know, so there were some weird Alistar moments, but he has had such a glow up from round 2 onward, and it's not just Nico. It felt like for a while, it's like, well, he can play Nico really well. Now he's playing Alistar well, he's playing Tahm Kench well, and he's like the only one who's playing Tahm Kench.
Yeah, he's also, it's like the vibes, man. Like, so Peter was good enough, even when he wasn't playing all that well, just because having Peter on your team is such an incredible buff to the mental. He's still that, but he's also good. Like, it's almost unfair. He almost has too many stats, you know? That's how I sort of think about it. They divvied up too many stats towards Peter. Too powerful now.
I thought after watching yesterday's series that there wasn't going to be another best of 5 that could be anywhere close to as one-sided, but KT said,
Gio
hold my keyboard.
Yeah, they did. Not that Peter even needs a keyboard. I was listening yesterday, and apparently he just clicks everything, and it's all just fine. As that's 2 turrets going down on the top side of the map. KT kind of milling about in the meantime here towards the bottom lane, as they do get the crash in in the bottom lane as well. But that is a lot of objective bounties going over, and the gold lead isn't massive.
Ooh, TP flank here as well from Calyx.
Oh, we were perhaps getting too enthusiastic, as never mind. Perfect's on a pretty good angle here, but so is King and Calyx alongside him. But can they get to the rest of the team before they're all dead? Gideon moving over. Lehens is out of the fight already, and Gio is going absolutely nowhere. Gideon's flashed in. Kingen gonna get knocked away momentarily, but the Devour keeps Doctom alive. The teleport in, Cuz trying to escape. As the Hextech ultimatum's down onto him, as Kingen trying to get out. He will do so. And BDD is looking to try and kill Calyx and then kill Kingen immediately afterwards. And look, he's succeeded.
I mean, KT, even when it looks like maybe they've been caught, maybe they've overextended. I mean, they weren't getting a ton of value in their pushes. 2 turrets went down, tons of bounty gold. The teleport flank is a bust, and I think this game may just be at the beginning of its end.
Oh dear. There is the dodge from Doctom, and yeah, once he's shot him once, he is just dead.
I mean, he's practically gotten 20 stacks in the last 3 minutes here, and that's the inhibitor to go over to KT as they get yet another Chemtech Soul.
Okay.
So is there a correlation between Chemtech Souls and KT winning? Because so far it's been 100% accurate, you know? Every time we get Chemtech Soul, KT wins the game. And, you know, they're winning the game in this one very hard, Atlas.
They really are.
The fact that Gio is just constantly being killed by Sion in this game means that they just have no control whatsoever. He's just trying to farm. He's trying to be Caitlyn. He's trying to get out of the trough. I just don't know if there is a way out of the trough in this one.
And also, like, he's a Caitlyn trying to fight with 3 people trying to flank at the same time.
Yeah, no,
and so he's just by himself. Has Lehens, but Lehens was chunked out and taken out of the fight immediately.
Because he did get ulted and died, but I think he gave his life for the good of the colony.
He didn't want them to get a kill, I don't think.
Yeah.
That's what the problem was. I'm pretty sure Doctom was just like, yep. Not feeling too enthused as Lehens. Yeah, he is. He's trying to walk his way out. They do have the Gravity Well, and the Dark Binding is decent, but oh god, there's too many KT members. And Perfect is fighting against Kingen, and Kingen is opting out, as you understandably would.
Yeah, Perfect ulted there as well. Tried to stop the hook shot, but was unsuccessful. But he's like, I'm just going to kill Gio again. That's what I want to do.
Yep. He's going to look for that one. In the meantime, KT are doing 17 things at once. There's the flash forward from Peter wanting to lock down Gideon, but the Abyssal Dive still on cooldown for the next little while.
KT are making Nongshim look like they're like an 8th place, 9th place team in the LCK right now. Like they are looking
I was like, is DNF actually in Road to MSI?
I mean, turns out, DNF played closer games than this, to be honest.
Oh, that's actually true. Didn't they go to 3 last time they met? I don't know whether that is the case, but it certainly felt like we haven't seen KT obliterate someone like this in at least 20 hours.
Yeah. Perfect is probably fine.
Yeah, no, he's fine. He's never going to die. BDD might. Never mind. He's got Doctom. He's a healer. And Lehens is really dead. Calyx is going to have to meet Cuz here as well, who charged up the knockup. And there it is.
Just in there suffering, KT. I can't watch any more of this.
Yeah, this is so
This is actually painful.
It's 9,000 gold the lead at 26 minutes. They won the game at 28 minutes in game number 1. As Peter dives his way out of there, Kingen going to try and take him down. They're going to look to ignore the Sion, which might be a good strategy. They'll turn, though, as Gio able to pump some shots into him. The ultimate just back up now, and went into them. He's absolutely insane, charging up the Q, but Gio's able to kite this one out. This is taking way too long, guys. It's kind of absurd, as he eats a cupcake and now looks for more. What are we doing, KT? What was that? They're winning the game!
Perfect. Oh, the trap!
Oh, the trap, but he had Soul Furnace anyway. He wasn't going to die, but KT is still going to win this game. It is match point now, and KT, this roller coaster has turned into a missile.